I know we use the term narcissist a lot, and that's thrown around a lot. And I'm not,
It is.
we're not diagnosing no one, but I will say this: most of the time, it's not even true narcissism. Most people are victims in their life. They are a
Hmm.
product of what happened to them. And when you are a victim, it is always somebody else's fault. That's not narcissism. You're just in victim mode. It's always somebody else. You're not responsible for your own feelings. And one of the things in healing, no matter what type of therapy you get, one of the biggest things you have to understand is that regardless to what happened to you, it's now your responsibility to heal. Once you get to your adulthood, it's your responsibility to fucking heal, or you could stay in the same shit and blame everybody else. It's this person's fault of why I'm fucked up. It's this person's fault. Because I used to be a victim for like 30 something fucking years of my life, damn near 40. I was still in victim mode. It was because of this, because of that, because it doesn't fucking matter how it happened. At some point you have to take that step back and say it's up to me to heal now. I can't sit in this same shitty ass energy, despite who did what, who left me, who whatever happened, right? You have to become accountable. And so one of all the things is that I always have you guys question is because how many of you ladies, and let's be real, you want a man to be vulnerable. You want a man to, and I always say this, you want a man to be loving and tell you his feelings, and then the second a man does, what comes out of your mouth? He's a punk. He's a bitch. You need to man up. What kind of man does that?
Or you throw it in his face.
You throw it in his face the second you get mad at him. You don't really want that type of man. This is why majority of the women who come to tarot are dealing with someone who is cold, who is distant, who is cut off. Because you don't really want someone who's vulnerable, who is open, he's soft. Exactly. The biggest thing you have to kind of understand is we play a big part in how somebody responds. If a man is not comfortable with you, he's never going to fucking open up with you. Let's be real. He's not. He's not going to get to those deeper emotions
Mhm.
and feelings if he's not comfortable with you. Because remember, they've gone through their own trauma. They've been shut down. Most, especially in the minority, they've been shut down. The second they were crying,
Yeah.
moms, not just dads, moms will say, "You better shut up," or what? "You better do this," or what? Boys don't cry. Men don't cry. Man up. So from little, they've been instilled to shut down their emotions. You think for some reason the love for you, it's going to open them up and they're going to blossom into these motherfucking, you know what I mean? Flowers?
You
No.
know, I, when we speak, I keep seeing the word narcissist, right? And that term is very, very easily used.
It is. I think
But
over.
I don't think anyone, well, okay, I shouldn't say that, okay, because there's like serial killers and stuff that I don't understand, right? But for the most
Right.
part, I'd say at least 95% of people I don't believe were born narcissists. I believe that
Mm.
sometimes situations happen in people's lives, and when you're a child, you go to survival mode. And I
Right.
think sometimes we weren't taught healthy ways to deal, healthy ways to communicate. Um, and we're always in this survival mode, especially when you're a child and you really can't do anything.
Right.
So it's a learned behavior. And then you get older and you continue with this learned behavior. I don't think everyone's a narcissist though. I think the
Yeah.
thing is it's easier to place blame on somebody else than to own up to it for yourself. And it's
Right.
easier to make you feel bad about what happened or what I did instead of owning up. And I also think that certain men know how to play that with certain women to
Right.
get what they want. And that is still
Right.
part of that survival mode from when they were a child. Um,
Right.
but I don't think everybody's technically a narcissist. Do they have tendencies of one? Probably. But I
Yeah.
don't think everyone is that narcissistic person. And I
Right.
also think what I had to realize in my other relationship is um, he was one of those ones too that I don't want to say he ever thought he was perfect, but he never shared his feelings or emotions, or it was never, um, that's not true. I'd be like, something's wrong with you, or like, why do you do? And
Right.
he'd be like, that's not true. That's not true. The thing is, if you, like she said, if you don't make a man feel comfortable enough to tell you, he's not going to just throw all of his faults on the table for you. Especially
No.
if what I've learned with my last relationship is he was unable to share anything with me until he's seen that I was able to own up to my own shit. Because a lot of times what I noticed with him is he was like, you're always pointing the finger. It's always me. It's always me. It's always me. What I do wrong. What I do wrong. What about you? What do you do wrong? And I had to realize I had to own my shit in order to make him feel comfortable to own his shit. Yes, I do think women know how to get rid of baggage better than a man. I do think that, but that's I think is because
Well,
when you're that feminine, you just have a way of being a little more in touch with your feelings. Because when you're masculine, you're taught not to have those feelings.
well,
So that
look at it. Look at it. You look got to look at our makeup is different, you guys. Men and
100%
women are different.
and everything.
I mean, we were given our nurturing ability to be moms because we carry the baby. Okay, we feed the baby. We are just created in that sense of nurturing, where men are not. Then you add on social conditioning on top of that. Okay, what do you expect to happen? And that's why I feel like we throw around the narcissism. There's other traits and there's other things that keep a person shut down, of someone unable to
Hmm.
love, or someone unable to really allow you in that heart space. There's so many other ways, but we go straight to narcissism, and I do think it's
We do.
overused.
And I think, even me, I had to realize, with my last relationship, there was certain things that I would do, and he would be like, "Don't start that manipulative shit." And I'd be like,
Right.
"What the fuck are you talking about?" But then I had to look back, and there was certain things that I tried to manipulate into my favor. So
Right.
that is a narcissistic quality. Would I call myself a narcissist? Not at all. But there's certain things that because I felt like I needed that in order to survive, or it was going to, do something to my life where I wasn't able to accept that change or whatever. There was times where I would do some of the
Right.
manipulative stuff where it would be, during a
Right.
fight, and it was like I didn't want to own my shit. So it was like, you did this and you did that, and I'm so perfect, and I'm this and I'm that. And he was
Right.
like, don't do that. Don't do that. And I was like, oh shit, I am being. And now if it was the shoe on the other foot, I would have been like, you're so fucking narcissistic. You're
Right.
such a fucking narcissist. So I do feel like a lot of times we throw these terms all
We
over the
do.
place, but
We
we
do.
never
If
want to
you
own up to the shit that we do.
No, if you look at it, how many women are emotionally manipulative? We won't even bring in the kids or anything like that. How many women are emotionally manipulative?
I
And the
think we
thing
all have
is,
that tendency to do it sometime,
the
some
thing
way,
is,
shape, form, or fashion.
hell yeah, self awareness is key. If you don't start to break down your own bullshit, because again, if it is everybody else, and if you're looking at your past relationships and you don't understand the shit that you've done in your past relationships, again, you are not elevated in that respect. Like, I have to be honest. Because even when I look back at my daughter's father, when I used to always be like, it was always him, I had to come to that term of thinking, like, damn, you know what? I didn't know what love was.
Hmm.
I still am learning now what love is. And Caleb, you said exactly what I've been learning, is that I didn't know what love is. So, I reached out to my daughter's father earlier this year, and I apologized to him because I was like, man, when I look back at a lot of things that I did during our relationship, it wasn't all him. I used to do some very emotional bullshit also. I would never use the child, never use my child against him. But emotionally, man, it was a roller coaster with my ass. One minute I want him, the next day I wouldn't. Fuck you, bye bye, whatever. We had this emotional roller coaster. And then, of course, all the other shit that happened. But I actually reached out to him with sincere apology, like, damn, I'm sorry, because I didn't know what love was. You know, I didn't understand what love was, didn't understand how to love someone else. And I will tell you, if someone doesn't love themselves, they will never be able to love you. That's a
Hmm.
fucking fantasy. If you think someone doesn't love themselves, they will never ever be able to love you. And I think that's the problem, is that we fall in love with people and we want them to love us so bad, and when they don't, oh, they're a narcissist. No, that person doesn't know what love is. It doesn't make them a narcissist because they don't know what the real, true, unconditional, divine love is. They
Right.
don't love themselves enough. And
Well,
yes, there are users.
I looked up the definition because I remember this argument with somebody, and I said he was a narcissist, and he was like, "I'm so fucking tired of you saying that." Right? He was like, "What is a narcissist?" Right? You kind of put me on the spot, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm like, "Oh, manipulator," or blah blah blah. And then he said, "Look up the fucking definition." And so I did, and I was kind of like, "Oh shit." So, a narcissist is a personality quality that includes thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others. Nowhere does
Look,
that say they're a manipulator.
nope.
Nowhere does that say living in victim mode. Nowhere does
Nope.
that say a liar. Nowhere does that say a cheater. Nowhere does that say believing one's lies. All
Right.
the things that we throw on narcissists, the biggest thing is they lack empathy for other people.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
there's a difference between a narcissist and a person who lies and a person who cheats and a person who believes the lies that they're telling. And
Right.
that's not a
Right.
narcissist. That's
Right.
not a narcissist.
Or like,
That's
even
not a
when someone's
manipulator.
demeaning, they throw the term narcissist on someone who's demeaning. Well, no,
Hmm.
you just have someone who's very hateful inside, so they project that shit outside. Remember, everything that's going inside someone is projected outward, right? We project who we are outward. So if you're dealing with someone who is conniving, who is demeaning, there's other things other than that term, but we throw it in because, one, we have to categorize whatever it is, right? We have to make sense of it,
Hmm.
right? The other part of it is we have to justify why we were with this person. You guys do know your ego has to justify, why would I stay with this person? Because if you
I was
truly
going
look
to
in
say
the mirror
that.
and understand why you would stay with this harmful, hurtful ass person, it'll be a little bit depressing to kind of really eat that. Okay. We blame the kids. I was with this person for the kids and this, that, and the fucking third, and all these other excuses. But at the end of the day, it's your ego that keeps you with someone who's not unloving, who
I was
is
going to say,
abusive.
I think everybody's ego could be a narcissist. Because if you look at the Oxford Dictionary, it says a person who has excessive interest in or admiration for themselves. And the quote is narcissists who think the world revolves around them. And when people get into ego, we all think that this world is supposed to revolve around us. We all
Right, right,
have that quality of, so I think the ego is a huge narcissist, of course. But there are a lot of people who feel like they're the only ones that matter. They're the only ones that count. But I don't think I think that's an egotistical quality, and I don't think that has any reason to do with why they're cheaters or why they're sucky
right, right, right. You
relationship
got it.
material.
When someone doesn't know how to love themselves, I don't believe that that's narcissism. You know what I mean? Like, you
Hmm.
know what I mean? It just, you got to look at it, and I know everyone has their what they've been through, and I know you kind of like, you see this person as what they are, you see this person as this, you kind of label them, and I'm not taking away from anybody's experience. Your experience is your experience.